Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Thursday, January the 27th, and there's no really change in our analysis or the trend moving down. The Fed have opened their mouth and tried to basically sort of run the markets, really, ease the markets from this correction. But they're just probably just all porky pies. So anyway, with Amazon here and regarding patterns, we can see that it's pretty clear to me that, you know, when you're looking at a trend, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you may not be able to recognize them all, but from the top here, you know, this is normally the sort of building process, either up or down, and then we've got the middle of the trend, which is the, you know, the part that we're always looking for, and then we've got the end of the trend. So, you know, as I mentioned coming into all of this, this is going to be a bumpy ride, and you know, those news announcements by the Fed and earnings and this and that, you know, they're all going to play a part in here, and that's what we're seeing at the moment. So the only mistake that I can see that I can make in some instances is that this wave 3 here, not in this case of Amazon, but in some of the other markets, it's possible to have this wave 3 over here and the current move that we're bouncing around in having wave 4 here, because some of the markets have bounced quite high. It does also throw a little bit of a spanner in the works as well, and I need to keep pretty stable through all of this. I can't get emotional just because the markets are emotional, but I do want to point out that it's possible in some cases to have wave 3 here of this degree and wave 4 of this degree with one more move down. But that's going to sort of throw a lot of the markets out. Now, they don't all need to follow each other as such, but I just want to point that out. So in some of the markets that when they do make a new low here, that may be their final low, and we'll need to probably build in on those particular markets, and we could be wrong, so we need to manage the risk at that point too. And we need to cover cost, but we also need to build in. But when we've got stocks like this one here, where for me it's reasonably clear that this is all the third wave coming here, and you know, we've still got the ball needs to keep on bouncing down here. So yeah, just pointing that out. But let's just cruise into the intraday, and as I mentioned, some stocks have bounced higher than others, but we're seeing them all as corrections. Now with Amazon here, I'm not quite sure the best way to count this because of the spike here. It makes it a little bit difficult, and you kind of slip into the guessing game a little bit. I know that I've got 3 waves here, so I know that this is corrective. So I know whatever happens in here, that's going to be corrective as well. Now, I really don't know how that's going to play out. Now, will that move up to here and you know, then drop from that point? I really don't know. It could just drop from where it is. It's just a little bit unclear with that spike there. And I don't normally take spikes sort of on board as such. But if this was an A wave and a B wave, then we'd look for a C wave up there. But how do you count that with that spike there? Do you forget about the spike and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? We've still got an overlap between these two. Or should we count it as a triangle, as an A wave, a B wave, a C wave, a D wave, and an E wave finishing here and then down? So I'm not quite sure about that. Obviously the 2,800, which is part of minor group 2, is, you know, still playing support here with the 65, 72 and 80 here, so it hasn't really penetrated that at the moment, but yeah, I do see it as corrective, as I mentioned, because this is in 3 waves, but there are markets that have this in 5 waves as well, so we need to take that on board. But that's where we are for Amazon, and let's cruise along into to Google. Now Google's one of those stocks that I just mentioned that Well, this is 100 ticks, and in this case I've changed it. Well, I've had it as 1 and 2 here, and I've got 3 here, and I've got 4 here now. So we're quite close to an overlap here. But I think that this is also minor group 2 here, 65, 126.50 in this case, 72 and 80. So what it's kind of doing, it's when you look at the picture, it's kind of broken. It came down, found support in here, tried to test supply again, and then it was pushed down to the next level, the medium level here, and now it's retesting that group 2 there. So I would expect this to fail, and in this case I can see it as an ABC pattern. Now it's a little bit, I had it as a green wave 4, but it's moved a bit too high for that. So I've readjusted or looked at this here and to see if I could actually just get 5 waves out of that. So I can, but I had it on 5 ticks, so we can have a look at the old count as well here. Just let me get a little bit more data in here. So we had it as 1 and 2 here, and green wave 3, looking for an, it should have just come back up to here, but now it's up to here. So I need to look at this as an A and a B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moving up here. So it should finish here, and I've got blue wave 4 there, as you see. So then I look back over here and I thought, well, can I go, well, I already had 1 and 2 there. That's as it is, and I thought, well, can I look at this as all of wave 3 to this point? And yeah, I guess I can. So yeah, anyway, still looking at this being corrective, because this move here is also in, I can see that as an A and a B, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in here, and 5 here. So I see it as an A wave and a B wave here, so I can just move these over here. But the change that I have to make here is that I have to make it a blue wave 4 rather than this one here for that. So that will need to move to this point. Take that away, that can go there. So yeah, we'll be working this ABC pattern from this point. If it gets support in group 2 here, well, then I would be wrong and would have to have a low in. That means we would have, a lot of these markets would be having 3 waves to the downside. So that means that we would have to look at them, if they kept on moving to the upside, we would have to look at them obviously as completed, but at the same time look at them as a WXY in this case. But that doesn't really play out very nicely either in this case. So we'll just see how the cookie crumbles. Yeah, so let me just, I'll come back, we can leave that at that point, so expect that to fail. Apple here also rallied, and the same thing's going here as well. It's just basically retesting the 165 here, and that's group 2. So as long as the 165 doesn't find support, then I'm going to need to stay where I am with this particular count. Let's just have a look at where this previous move down here is. I mean, we need to look at all sorts of counts here. That's what I was sort of thinking. It was pretty close to that 61.8% there. So there is, there is a nice support, technically in terms of ratios from that space. But let's just see if the 165 here, part of group 2, does its job and holds it as support here, and mirrors this here but to the other side. And let's go in and take a closer look at this as well, and this is what the S&P and all that will be going through as well. So let's go a bit more, let's go here. So this is another one that I've also need to change to wave 3 here and wave 4 here, because it's rallied so high. And once again, I think the important thing here is, even in this case here, it becomes a little bit more obvious that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So an A and a B and a C wave here for that. And this one here is pulled back, from this low to that high. It's pulled back 61.8% at that point. I suppose there is an argument where you could go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, but the wave 2's pulled back quite low here, because as it stands at the moment, the 50-60% or the 61.8% is pretty close here for that, you know. So it's kind of a nice fit, really, but I could see the argument for it being bullish as well. Once again, this spike here, I mean, I can see that I can look at it as an ABC for the A wave and the B wave here, and then a little 5 waves here for 1 and back for 2 here, and we could count this spike is also sort of throwing me out as well. I was thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, but that's probably wrong because wave 4 is pulled back too far here. The other way to count this, and this is a bit of a long shot here as well, is looking at this. You probably start throwing stuff at me now. Is this here is 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, and 4 here, and 5 here. But that's sort of, you know, forcing things along a little bit, and there's, you know, the structures there. But, you know, I don't know if that didn't spike, would that be wave 1 up there and 2, do you know? And would that be fitting? And do we have a top in here at the moment? You know, it looks impulsive to me here and corrective here. This still needs to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, still needs to come a little bit lower. But what does that mean? Can it still go up from that point? I'm not quite sure, but you know, I know that we're kind of close to the top. And one of the things that, I'll just put that off the spike there, but it sort of comes down to me about this 165, 72 and 80. This is all a group 2 here, and this is what it's retesting in terms of ratio. So yeah, I just want to see what it does at the 65, at the 165 here at this point. You know, the Feds have, you know, said what they've said, and let's just see how the market you know, unfolds from this point. Okay, moving along here a little bit. The same for Facebook here, Meta Platforms. So we're still looking at the A, the B, doggy scratching in the background, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. I woke him up, it's early in the morning. So in this case here, the market's kind of sticking to this large number here, the 300. It hasn't really let it go either as support or resistance. Obviously it's above the level at this point, but yeah, I think it can still move down from here. So we'll pretty much stay on track here. I think I may have adjusted this to the wave 4 too. Let me just go into, yeah, I probably have. And I don't know if that's actually correct what I've done there, but so we'll have to work through the low when we get to the low. Yeah, so I've sort of readjusted this trend down here because the 38.2% retracement level from this high is just a little bit more suitable. So yeah, that's 38.2 there. Once again, I've got this situation here. I don't know the best way to count this at the moment. I think the important thing here, though, is that we've got short trades here, but if we're going to add to the short trades, we need to be always, you know, you can get away with it, but it's best not to short. If you're going to short, then you need to be under the closest largest number as the resistance. If you're going to go long, then you want this as a support. So if I was going to go long here, I would be looking to go long above here now. You know, that would make sense to me, you know, as a trader. So I need to be open about things, you know, to myself. You have to be honest with yourself, because really this is a game against your own self, you know, and yeah, and the market and so on. So you have to develop yourself, you know, you have to understand the difference between your opinions about the market and making money about the market. So, you know, putting the right hat on, putting your trading hat on when you go to trade, and put your analysis hat on when you do the analysis. So be very clear about that. You don't want to get them mixed up. And it's very difficult to be a good analyst and a good trader. Normally you'll be better at one than the other, and it's just the way that it is. Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating industry, isn't it? I mean, it's a fantastic job to have, to be a trader. It keeps you connected to the world. It tests your ability. against the market. It's, you know, it helps you defeat your own ego. It teaches you discipline. Well, you need to teach yourself discipline. I mean, I do meditation. I've been doing it for like 40 years. I'm not that good at it, but it certainly helps stabilize my mind. I was listening to something that Ray Dalio was doing as well. He does meditation, and he said, well, he wouldn't be where he is without meditation, and I understand that. You know, I mean, meditation is really just exercise for the brain, if you will. You know, and what's in the brain, I suppose. Well, for me, from my perspective, it's the mind, the memory, and the intellect. So the memory you need to strengthen. So you don't keep doing the same things, as Einstein said. You'd be a bit crazy, you know, repeating the same thing. And the meditation, to me, really, you know, the mind is for creating, and the intellect is where you make the decisions. And I find that meditation strengthens the intellect, so you can stop thoughts just circling all the time, and you can make better decisions. So that's how I get discipline. There is a little meditation thing on discipline on our website. You have to find it there. I'm not sure where it is now, but listening to that every day, and basically, well, it's kind of brainwashing, really. But it's a good little video that we made up. Not a video; it's more a guided meditation on discipline. So that's quite good. And it's very helpful. You know, like I said, it's just basically changing your thoughts, and, you know, it's basically cleaning your brain up, brainwashing, really. Okay, so enough waffling there. Anyway, we need this to short this. We need a classic trading levels pattern to the downside. So you know the routine there. You may get something nice and clean like that, or you might need something like this here, where it comes back above the level. In this case, but we still need it to drop through that 300 in that case. You know, we need it on this side of the fence. So I'm going to remove that, but that's, you know, because that would be a short-term trade. If that was the case, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up here. So, you know, this is going to be over here somewhere anyway. So we've either got some sort of A, B, C, D, E here for this triangle, or we're going to have a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, and we're going to be up here. I'm not quite sure how this is going to play out, to be honest, but we're going to stay with this failing at this particular point. Alrighty, Microsoft has really jumped high here, and I've adjusted it to this wave 4, but it's also giving me an overlap here. But the thing here is that we've got a very clean 5-wave structure here for wave 1 and then 2 here. If this is going to be, you know, if that's going to be the low, well, then we would have to look at this as a WXY at this point. But for that to occur, I really want to see it develop some support on the closest largest number, the 300 here. Okay, so it's, yeah, sure, it's above there, but will it stay there? That's the question. Otherwise, we're still looking for another move down here, which I think is the case. But, yeah, I mean, obviously we get support on 310, but then we need to be, you know, talking about being long from that point. So, where are we here? Let's just go into 100 ticks and have a look at this. So, yeah, I mean, we've always had this as 1 and 2 here, and then I was looking at this as 1, and we had that as 1 and 2 in the third wave here, and I was wondering if this is the fourth, and the spike down here is the fifth. And then we call that wave 3, and then wave 4 here, and then we fail from this point. But if you're going to short this again from here, you'll need that, you know, you'll need that first move down, you need that, you know, and then that first low becomes the setup on that side, and if that's breached, then you're on the short side, of course. So once again, the spike here, you know, how do we read that? I'm not really quite sure at this point. Like I said, there's really good resistance here as well with all this supply here, so that can pin that down here and send it back under here. But if the 310 here becomes the support with a classic trading levels pattern, the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, little ABC here, if you can see it, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, and then we can look at, you know, buying any of those highs at that point if they're breached at that point, you know. But that's that's putting your trading hat on at that point. But yeah, now we need to move through the, you know, the Fed comments with all of this and see see how we're going to fare with all of this. Yeah, okay, and same with Tesla. Quite higher than I thought as well. So we do have a nice wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and then I was looking for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. It has gone it has gone quite high here as well, retesting the 1000. So I think in all fairness we could also say here too that if there's going to be a low in place here as some sort of, WXY here for some other particular triangle pattern or something, but I personally wouldn't go long unless I had the closest, largest number as the support, and that would be the 1000, the trading level 1, and 1 is the strongest number in the market, so I definitely want that as a nice tested support. So in the meantime, I think we just need to chill, and let's see if it's going to fail back at this time. We can just have a look at the 100 ticks. So we'd counted up yesterday as an A and a B and a C here for the A wave, and then an A and a B and a C here for the B wave. And I thought we may have had it here somewhere, or wherever it was here, this top. But obviously it's pushed up higher. I'm not really sure. You could probably count this in a different way as well. We could probably go 1, 2, 3, 4 here and 5 here. The problem with that, there's a little bit of overlap there, but that's what large numbers do. This is a medium level. They can skew the wave count a bit. They can bring things together. They can sort of push things away. So yeah, I mean, it's possible to look at this in a variety of ways here. I was thinking that just counting it up, I mean, that's looking a bit, I mean, even from, yeah, once again, yeah, the spike throws it out, that's all. I thought there might be another little high coming into play here. But I could be wrong. So I guess here there would be overlapping wave structures. So between 900 and 1000, then the center of this would be the 50 here, and 5 is the second strongest number. So that would be really important. So if I was looking to short this, I would want a little classic trading levels pattern, bearish one on the downside. So that's where I would be looking to build in my first position. And then if the number 2 here became the resistance here, and expect to bounce off the number 3, it takes a while to get through all of this, but if that number 2 there, that became the resistance with the same sort of pattern, then I would know it was going to be pulled down to here. If it's going to be pulled down to here, then we're really sort of down. So then I can also look to add under this level as well for that. Okay, so I have to stay with this particular move to the upside here. This is the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, so it's come to that. This, yeah, this has still got 3 waves here, so maybe it can be counted differently there. But anyway, I'll get this video out. Okay, so that's Tesla. We also want Square as well, and then some banks. So with Square here, just basically looking at this as an A and a B and a C wave here. It doesn't count very nicely as a C wave. We could look at it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. It all gets a bit squashed up, but it's possible. Yeah, we're still looking to the downside on all of this as well. And yeah, so we're coming down, really, back down into this level here. That's how I see it. It would be nice to see a breach of the little trend line here through here, so we've got that there as well. Yeah, so the next thing here to look for is that there will be support. You can also use the levels, but there'll also be support at the 61.8%, and the levels go between 10 and 20, so 11, 12, 13 is group 1, then you got 15, so 15 became the retested resistance. You could get a position there and then look to add onto the downside. Let's also just have a look at the banks as well. Let's just, I want to go to the daily chart here. I think I'll just start with, get that in there a bit better. I mean, with Goldman's here and that, it does appear that, I mean, we're looking for an A wave, a B wave, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. But, you know, it doesn't, I might have to bring that down further because, you know, this probably play, you know, it's not a very good, the C wave is very sharp. That's my problem. It should be more lazy and we shouldn't get gaps in it. This is a personality of a third wave. So I'm thinking that we would get 1, 2, 3, some sort of 4 here, which we're in the process now, and then down for 5 here as wave A, then a B wave here, and then a C wave coming into play here with, you know, 5 waves and then moving up. So I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on that. If this was a lazy situation here, then I would go for the ABC, but it's just not sort of playing out like that. And Morgan's is the same as well. So I just want to see if we get this, you know, as a fourth wave here. I mean, we can look at it like, you know, an ABC here and head on up at that point. But yeah, it just should be lazier. That's all. You know, I mean, when the market moves up, it's the A wave that comes down strong. You know, and then the B wave and the C wave is on a bit more of an angle, probably dramatizing it a bit. But even that, you know, that would be sort of this angle compared to wave A here. But when you get this sharp move in here, when this is, you know, sharper than when that's sharper than the actual A wave here, then that's typical of a third wave at that point, you know. So yeah, let's just see how that plays out for a moment. Let's just, I mean, the move up here on the volume, moving up here, is on lower volume, so it's divergence. We can see that the market moves down here, but it's also coming down on lower volume, so it's also divergence as well. So the sellers are not in control at this point. You know it's going down, but it's because it's not increasing volume, it's decreasing volume. You know the trend is going to turn. Then we get this nice move in here that pins it here, and then it starts to move up, but it's moving up on lower volume, so that's also divergence as well. So it's very typical of you know, another move down at this point. So we'll look for that, and then we'll look for the ABC. Let's just see what we get here first for these banks before we go rushing in where angels and fools and all that sort of thing go. So alrighty, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.